So let me show you how to do what we call either a replacement photo, some people call it composite photos. I'm going to be using, again, Photoshop Mix. And let me go to a project that I've already started here, just to kind of show you what we're going to be doing. So here in my new composition here, where my two dogs are shopping at Home Depot, what I did is I created a composite. If you don't notice, hey, my dog Ted's face is now replacing Santa's face. And how I did that is very simple. Again, I brought in the main photo of my two dogs in the shopping cart with Santa. I brought in another picture that I thought would match up well with the Santa picture. One thing that you need to think about when you are doing a composite of two photos taken at two different times is you want to try to match up things within your picture. A very common thing that people will be doing is they'll be taking someone's head off of a photo and actually putting it onto, putting their dog's head onto it, putting their head into a picture. It's a very common kind of replacement, photo that we do here within our Photoshop exercise. So with this, you can see that I'm clicking on it. A couple things I wanted to point out. When I go to my cutout here, and I click on my photo, you can see the original photo of my two dogs. And I chose this photo because Santa is looking in that direction and Ted is looking in the same direction. So I thought it would be a good match. Up at the very top right-hand side of your screen, you will see this little kind of layer panel here. That layer button that I'm hitting will go back and forth between just showing you your own image and then also showing you your image on top of the other image. So you can do great things like, trying to, once you get everything cut out. So here I'm in basic. You can see that I can add to my selection. I can, subtract to my selection, but it's going to get hard trying to blend it with the other photo, and that's where that button comes in. So now I can go through and erase, and I can really hit the areas that I need to hit to make it truly look like Ted is inside of Santa's hat. All right, so as I kind of move around the screen, sorry about that. So you can see that it does a pretty good job at actually blending that in. Once I'm done, and I click on that, of course I can make my selection bigger or smaller. I don't want to make it bigger because I think it blends in pretty well with what I got going on here. But other things you might want to do is your adjustments. I've already played with the exposure of this to make it a little bit lighter so that it blends more in with, Santa there. I can also play around with the temperature. So, maybe I want it cooler, maybe I want it to be a little bit warmer based on the original picture that I'm trying to blend it into. So, this sort of like comedic factor of the replacement photo, kind of putting a dog's head on a person or, switching, things around, really can work out. Now, what happens if we have in the original Santa picture, so I click the, the image, oops, I just moved it. So when I click on that, well, what happens if I have part of Santa actually showing up still, or part of Santa's face? If I go to More Tools and I go to Healing within Photoshop Fix, all right, and I'm going to, show you that if I click on that, Adobe Photoshop Fix opens up. And here's the image. Now remember, what you can do in Fix is you can clone out part of Santa. So remember, if I go to the spot healing and so let's say over here, part of that, Santa's face is going to interrupt with, Ted showing up there. Well, look what I'm doing. I'm just pushing back Santa's face, all right? And it's getting kind of wacky looking. I could also go to Clone Stamp. So watch what happens when I do Clone Stamp. I can, pick this area up here of the background of Home Depot there, and then I can now choose to hit that area, and it's moving it down. So if I need to make the brush size smaller, and then I can kind of move over here and get rid of that cord, get rid of that, move that. So I'm just essentially getting rid of parts of the image, and then watch here. So now I'm going to save up at the very top of the screen. You can see where it says saved. And now when I go back, you can even see that part of that background, what I needed to get rid of, is gotten rid of, all right? So you can see that Photoshop really goes in between the apps in order to help you out. All right. So let me show you a little bit more of a practical use for this, though. Because inevitably you're going to take some family photos over Thanksgiving and, over Christmas if you are able to get together with your family and whatnot. Even if it's just your immediate family at home, inevitably everybody kind of gets together for a photo. And let's say you are looking good, but your brother is closing his eyes or, something in that case, and you didn't take another photo, or you took a few more photos, but not everybody was looking good at the same time. Well, here is a practical use for how we can do this. Here I'm going to, I created a, replacement. Here we go. So I'm going to take these two photos right here. So here is, the boat picture of Woody and Ted here. I'm going to take take that second picture there. So, within this picture, Ted isn't looking too good. I'm going to put that layer on the bottom. I'm just grabbing it and see how I'm dragging it down here to the bottom. And now what if I want Ted's head on the picture where Ted's head wasn't looking so great? Well, you know what to do, right? I'm going to go to cutout. I'm going to go to smart. I'm going to go to subtract. I'm going to get rid of as much as I can here. So I am, it's going to be a tricky one. That's, that layer panel, that's why that's really crucial, because you can see I was trying to erase stuff and it looked like it was not really erasing for me there. And why am I on the wrong layer? So let's go back here. I'm going to hit stop that. So again, Ted is on top. I hit that layer. I'm going to my cutout. Sorry about that. I'm going to add, let's just go ahead and add his little head in right there. And since the background, again, it was taken within the same moments of each other, if I go to hit check, you know what to do. I'm going to move this into place. Boom. Boom. So now what I need to do is I need to go back to my cutout. I want to get rid of, so I'm going to subtract some of that blue background there. Oops, I'm adding it. Why am I doing that? So I'm getting rid of that. So I'm kind of fading that into, so we'll fade into the background. So again, I hit check. It's looking a little bit better, not totally better. So I'm going to go back to my cutout. There's part of the, there's part of that background over here. So now I'm going to go to check. Of course, I could be zooming in on this. That would be tremendously helpful. Not on Ted. Hey, let's make Ted's head really big. But what's one of the nice things about what we can do too with this process here is, kind of obviously fitting it up to match it up is going to be the hardest part to this. So you're going to have to, kind of resize your picture. Obviously, I should be zooming in on the entire picture instead of trying to zoom in on Ted's head constantly. So there, let me zoom in on the entire picture. Let me select his head, move it into position a little bit. So you can see that you're going to have to do some stuff in order to blend this in a little bit better. So if I go back to my cutout here, his neck, I keep adding, so I'm going to go back to subtract. And, his neck is the part that's kind of giving me a little issue there. So I'm going to kind of fade that in a little bit better around there, fade that in, go back to check. It's looking better, all right? So his ears were down in that other picture. Now I picked a better picture of him where his ears are looking up. It looks like it needs to be maybe a little smidge bigger as far as that cutout goes. So again, you can, resize, do what you need to do to, make that look better. So this is, again, a very practical use for what we are doing with the cutout. And of course, if you have to get rid of, part of the original picture that was in there, by all means, do it. Okay, so hit done with what you're done, go to more tools. Make sure that you're clicked on the background picture though before you go to more tools, because if you just click on that picture, that's the picture that is going to go into Adobe Fix in order for you to clone part of the background, so that part of the background image. So let's say you're trying to put Ted's head on a picture of you. and you have all of your head still showing up, one thing you might want to do is go into Adobe Fix before you actually play around with that photo and maybe clone out part of your head. So that when you bring the dog's head into the picture or whatever you choose to do, it won't be interrupted by a part of the background elements of your photo. So once you're done, of course, you can be done. I'm just going to go back here. So it's kind of saving this project for us. So you can see there are different applications for what we call as a replacement. Practical ideas, but also doing kind of fun, almost even surrealistic ideas, as like I'm doing where Ted's head is replacing Santa. I could go crazy and, take out Santa's hands and put in Ted's paws, do all that kind of stuff too. Just a matter of photographing his paws and kind of replacing the hands with that. That's something that I would work on to complete this photo and make it look awesome. All right. So that's all we're doing for this in the mix here. So again, a replacement photos for us. So that is your